You want more Oscar Brand? I second the emotion. I want more Oscar Brand. So let's have what I call an afterglow. Let us go from Oscar Brand in person to Oscar Brand in action.
The thing that interests me, Barry, about Christmas is in a way it's almost like a mirror. Every civilization that has celebrated the holiday has revamped it for its own needs and for its own understanding. Even children, they sing, in England, instead of singing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," they sing, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Beecham's Pills is just the thing, peace on earth and mercy mild, good for grown-ups, good for a child," which is Beecham's Pills. Sir Thomas Beecham's family used to make those. Or I go into a school and a kid comes over to me and says, "Listen to this one. Jingle bells, Santa smells, Rudolph laid an egg. The Matmobile lost a wheel and Robin ran away. Jingle bells, Santa smells. Santa smells very, very strong. Oh, what fun it is to sing such a horrible song." Or this, which is, teachers don't even like to hear this. "Deck the school with gasoline, fa la 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 la. Light a match and see it gleam, fa la 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 la. See the school burn down to ashes, fa la 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 la. Aren't we glad we played with matches, fa la 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 la." There's more. I mean, just Christmas has given so many new songs to the young balladeers of the world, such as this one. "Good King Wenceslas went out on the feast of Stephen. Snowball hit him on the snout, made it all uneven." I mean, these are great creations, and this is one I just got the other day when I was doing at Valley Stream. I did concerts in every single school in the whole system, and one of the kids came up to me and says, "Do you know this one? King Henry's wife, she did him dirt. She sewed green sleeves on his yellow shirt. He kicked her out of the royal bed and called for the chopper to chop off her head."
Oh, that beat, that percussion reminds me of the Indian Christmas carol you were going to do. Not the Indians in India, but the Indians here.
Oh, yeah, that's another, perfect. That's another demonstration of how the people translate the story of Christ into their own milieu. Now, there were the hay and straw in a manger? No. There were not little settlements in the woods. So in order to make it clear, a missionary in the 17th century named Father Brebeuf took an old French song and wrote French words which were translated into the Huron language, and they created this song. Are we set up in it, you think?
You speak it,
all right.
And Tom is the best short order cook in the world.
Well, it's side 1, number 5, The Chief of Man. Skip the talk that I have with my son Jordan. Go right to the song, and as soon as you're ready, let me know. I'll just give you a little more information about this. The song was tremendously popular. I learned it from Alanisa Bumsa, one of the Abenaki tribe. But she also told me that after his years of working with the Huron Indians, Father Brebeuf was murdered by a marauding tribe which hated the Hurons and figured that if he was with them, he was with them. So that was the end of him. But this song lived long, long, long years after.
You mean the missionaries reached the Hurons and converted them to Christianity?
That's right. Mm-hmm. Well, some of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly not enough.
Okay. Can we hear it?
The moon was cold, the sky was gray, and bare of any bird. The whispering leaves had blown away, not a sound was heard. Upon a bed of birchen bark, firelight gleaming in the dark, Jesus our Lord is born, Jesus is born. Glory to the Chief of Man. Esearonde tanue, Jesus ahatunya, anawa dewa doki nuanda squa anta, anujan squa chihotak nuandi ruajata, Jesus atonia, Jesus atonia, Jesus atonia. The forest creatures swiftly sped, the rabbit, fox, and deer. then watched in silence at his bed without a sign of fear. And as they stood, the stars grew bright, warmed them all that chilly night. Jesus our Lord is born, Jesus is born. Glory to the chief of men. The braves rode by with presents fine, with furs and shining beads, with moccasins and fragrant pine and flutes of hollow reeds. They raise their lances to the sky, fill the forest with their cry. Jesus our Lord is born, Jesus is born. Glory to the chief of man.
I've heard Polish Christmas carols, Danish Christmas carols. That's got to be the first Huron Indian Christmas carol I ever heard.
There aren't too many of them left, I'm afraid, but that one has lasted hundreds and hundreds of years, and I hope it lasts longer and longer. It's a very touching song in a way. The attempt to see a foreign, an alien atmosphere through your own local parochial eyes. How many people in this country recognize Jerusalem, recognize the narrow streets, would understand the colorful clothes, the low tents that the Arabs put up, which were very similar to what they had in Bethlehem in those days. And yet, of course, they make it up and make it their own. It becomes a personal life, a personal story. And all these centuries, that's been what's happened. On the other hand, the Latin Americans of this country and Mexico have a completely different song, which is used every Christmas. It is the standard Christmas song. It's called Las Mañanitas. And I'd love if we could get it up there. It's listed as the Little Morning Songs on side 1, page 6 of My Christmas is Best. Side 1, number 6, the Little Morning Songs. They have the piñata, of course, the ceramic animal, usually a cow, and they have to hit it with a stick while they're blindfolded, and inside are all kinds of candies and gifts. That's one marvelous little custom. But the song is very interesting because it seems to have nothing to do with Christmas. In fact, it's about King David. It says, these are the songs that King David sang. But it's used as a birthday song all the year round. And as a consequence, on Christmas, it's used for the birthday of Christ. So Las Mañanitas is the popular and the best known of all the Latin American songs.
The song of David, with which he used to greet the day, and to all the sleeping children he would sing in this way. Awake, awake, my loved ones, awake and greet the dawn, for the little birds are singing and the night has long gone. Estas son las mañanitas que cantaba el rey David, ya las muchachas bonitas cantaba así. Despierta, mi bien, despierta, mira que amaneció, ya los pajaritos cantan, ya la luna se metió. Some days we wake to mornings that we wish would go away, but a morning such as this one deserves a bright holiday. Awake, awake, my loved ones, awake and greet the dawn, for the little birds are singing and the night has long gone. Let us dress up in our finest, and with laughter the house shall ring. Then from door to door we'll travel, and as we walk we will sing. Awake, awake, my loved ones, awake and greet the dawn, for the little birds are singing and the night has long gone.
Well, even if there are different ways of celebrating, at least we all celebrate on the same day.
Night people, please come to order. This meeting will just take 1 minute.
What's open at this hour? How many times have you asked that? Where can we go now? Not just for a bite, but for anything from a bite to a meal to a feast. New York now has an answer. The New York Delicatessen on West 57th Street is open all night long, gleaming, inviting. This Art Deco palace is open all night long, dispensing the best corned beef, pastrami, roast beef, chicken tongue, turkey, chopped liver, stuffed cabbage, Romanian steaks, blintzes. Whatever New York Delicatessen means to you, you'll find the best of it, reasonably priced, cheerfully served all night long. And it's such a delight to be inside the New York Delicatessen with so many nice, happy people. West 57th Street, just west of...
Well, before we go, I must tell you of an anomaly about the season. One of the songs that became extremely popular, one of the more modern Christmas songs, comes from the Passover service. There's something with that one. Do you know on the second night of Passover a song that goes, Mua Sapru?
Mua sapru, mua dapru, la 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 la. Wer kan redden, wer kan sagen, was die eens bedeit, was die eens bedeit. Einer is God, and God is einer, and weiter keiner. Yeah, that's a song. That's a very good, clean, fun song.
Yeah, well, that's what it's
it means
made
who
for.
knows what one is, and the answer is one is God, God is one, and there shall be no one more number one than God.
Right.
And then who's number two, so on up to...
It's like the 12 Days of Christmas,
yeah,
a cumulative song.
Right,
the fun
right.
is
That's
trying to remember all the things, whether it's the 7 days of the week,
That's right.
or the days before circumcision,
That's
or the
right.
13,
yeah, right.
The patriarchs and matriarchs.
That's
well,
right.
that's fun. It's a game, and
Yeah.
it was written...
And you try to
for the
sing it as
children.
fast as you can.
Right, and it was done for the children,
Right.
so the children would have a part in the service. Now,
Right.
the Jews were the first to do that, on the Passover especially. One day in England, someone heard this marvelous game that was being played and decided that there should be a song for Gentiles like that. And so he wrote this to the tune of an old bawdy song. I'll sing you one, oh, green grow the rushes, oh, one is your one, oh, green grow the rushes, oh, one is one and all alone, and evermore shall be so. And then 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now that's popular. That became very popular. In fact, it's in many of the school books in this country. But as it progressed through our population, as with many songs, the edges began to be hewn off it. It was changed, and of course this African influence that is so important and vital to American song began to work on it, and pretty soon we had a completely different song with a different beat, and yet it is really that same old Passover song. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm going to send thee one by one, one poor little bitty baby born, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm going to send thee 2 by 2, 2 for Paul and Silas, one poor little bitty baby born, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm going to send thee 3 by 3, 3 for the Hebrew children. And that's the only Jewish part of it now, and yet it's derived from the Passover service.
I'm going to give you a postscript on that, and I'll bet you're going to look it up and you're going to find I'm right, and I'm going to piggyback into immortality in the music of Oscar Brand. You know the Latin American slang term for North American, the disparaging term.
The gringos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know where that came from?
Well, I know where people say it came from. How do you say?
Well, what within the past 3 minutes would relate to what I'm saying?
Let's see now. Green grow the lilacs was what I had originally heard it came
Well,
from.
green grow the rushes.
Oh, green grow the rushes,
Yeah.
of course.
In other
of
words,
course.
what you just sang is the origin of the disparaging, the insult, the Latin American insult for us, for North Americans. They call us gringos. Now, we do know words. Everything loses its origin. How many people live to ripe old ages and die without realizing that breakfast means to break your fast? People shake hands all their lives without realizing the origin was to show the stranger that you have no weapon in your hand, right? So this word gringo is kind of lost, but it's not that lost. It hasn't sunk beneath the primordial ooze. You can dig it out. And the best explanation I ever heard, this is what my college Spanish teacher told us, is that somebody heard a North American singing that very song and didn't hear green grow the rushes. He didn't hear green grow. He heard gringo.
That's
And so he called the person singing it a gringo, one of them from up there.
I heard the story about another song that begins Green Grow, but it was Green Grow the Lilacs, which was very popular for many, many years. A very pretty song, but green grow the lilacs all covered with dew. I'm lonely, my darling, since parting from you. But by our next meeting, I hope you'll prove true when I trade the green lilacs for the red, white, and blue, which is an old English Irish song.
In our closing moments, do you have a favorite Christmas carol?
Yes, I'm glad you asked, because I don't know where it came from. It's so beautiful. I know it's for Polish. The Polish people fast all day on Christmas, and then in the evening they have a big feast, but under the tablecloth they keep some hay and straw to remind them of the humility, the humbleness of the birth of Christ, and they sing this very beautiful song, Lull, Lullaby, Jesus.
Lullaby, Jesus, your mother is singing. Lullaby, Jesus, such happiness bringing. Lullaby, Jesus, my darling, don't cry. I'll hug you and sing you a sweet lullaby. Lulaj za Jezuniu moja peruka, lulaj za Jezuniu me pieści da juka. Lulaj za Jezuniu, lulaj za lulaj, a ty go matulu i ptaszku utulaj. You will awake Jesus when nighttime is done. There'll be almonds and raisins for my little son. Lullaby, Jesus, my darling, don't cry. I'll hug you and sing you a sweet lullaby.
The sentence, life. The story, real. The book, Pollard the Spy Story. A best-selling account about the real-life story of Jonathan Pollard, convicted of spying for Israel. Did the punishment fit the crime? Was he a victim of political punishment rather than a judicial one? Why is Pollard still in isolation? Is this America's Dreyfus case? Have anti-Semitic, anti-Israel elements in the Reagan administration prevailed? Read Pollard the Spy Story and decide for yourself if justice has been served. This explosive account can be found at all leading bookstores. Find out the true story about what really happened. Jonathan Pollard, The Spy Story. Selected by the B'nai B'rith Jewish Book of the Month Club.
Remember the magic of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Now those Disney characters come to life in limited edition pure gold or silver coins. Has it really been 50 years since Snow White won our hearts? Now a limited Disney mintage is being offered in time for holiday gift giving, authorized by Disney. Imagine the smile of a friend, relative, or grandchild's face. Doc, happy, dopey, sneezy, bashful, sleepy, grumpy, plus Snow White, Prince Charming, the Hunter, the Queen, and the Wicked Witch, all captured forever in pure gold or silver coins. Now, they're available in sets or individually. Buy a grumpy for a grumpy boss, the prince for a prince of a fella, or a dopey for that dopey but lovable brother. All coins are numbered in individual cases, complete 11-piece sets available. Call 718-338-8330 for holiday delivery. RSR Coins, New York's authorized Disney Rarities dealer. Call 718-338-8330, 718-338-8330.
He gave you this watch?
Mom, it's not that bad, but I was hoping for a Longines.
And this is the man you're going to marry?
Longines presents two new watch classics, both examples of fine jewelry that tell superb time. The Longines 400, like strands of fine gold, the Longines 400 caresses your wrist, quite like nothing else. And the Longines 88, its rich bracelet has the look of solid gold ingots and the feel of heaven itself. Both the Longines 400 and the Longines 88 have unparalleled Swiss quartz accuracy. Both are water resistant, both are available for men and women, and both are products of the Longines Whitnauer Watch Company.
See the Longines collection at Cosa Jewelers, 4204 White Plains Road in the Bronx. For her, a Longines, sheer jewelry on the wrist. For him, the world's most honored watch. Christmas, Longines says Merry Christmas best. When the gift of time is important, see Cosa Jewelers, 4204 White Plains Road, the Bronx.
Sing you a sweet lullaby.
Where'd you get a honey of a song like that?
It's an original song. Talking about the Lord of the Dance?
No, that Polish song that Tom's replaying.
Sung to me by a family named Sawicki.
Oh, Oscar, I'm paralyzed with the beauty of it all, which perhaps is a fitting position for someone entertaining Oscar Brand at the cusp of Christmas and in time for the holidays. Oscar Brand, enriching the air over America for half a century. Long may he wave.
AP Network News. I'm Tim Sargent. It is a day of turmoil in Seoul, South Korea. Waves of riot police have clashed with about 2,000 demonstrators as the protests continue over Wednesday's presidential election. At least 900 people have been arrested, and police said there were 31 injured. President-elect Roh Tai-woo appealed for national harmony as opposition leaders claim there was massive fraud in Wednesday's election.
The Democratic Justice Party candidate, Mr. Roh Tai-woo, appears to be the winner by a substantial margin. We congratulate Mr. No on his victory and look forward to working closely with him.
That's State Department spokesman Charles Redmond. In spite of the charges, the U.S. government has accepted the outcome of the South Korean election. A White House spokesman said President Reagan had been briefed on the elections. He added that Reagan will be sending his congratulations to the winner. They were chanting Gary, Gary, Gary in Denver Thursday night as presidential hopeful Gary Hart returned home. There were about 30 supporters and twice as many reporters on hand at the Denver airport for his arrival. Hart told the crowd he wants to lead the United States. Kansas Senator Bob Dole has become the second GOP presidential candidate to come out in favor of the new U.S.-Soviet medium-range nuclear missile treaty. He'd been criticized for not coming out sooner with his endorsement. At a White House appearance with President Reagan at his side Thursday, Dole pledged to lead the fight for Senate approval of the treaty. Took a late evening session Thursday, but congressional negotiators have finally agreed on a deficit reduction bill that raises taxes by $23 billion over the next 2 years. Rich Johnson has details.
The deal was hammered out by two of Capitol Hill's top money men, Texas Senator Lloyd Benson and Illinois Congressman Dan Rostenkowski. They then sold it to tax negotiators from both houses. Rostenkowski says he expects the White House, which was party to the agreement, to fully support it. Corporations would pay most of the new taxes, but you might be affected by the extension of a 3% telephone tax for 3 years, a cap on deductible home mortgages at $1 million, and a restriction on deductible home equity loans to $100,000. Rich Johnson, AP Network News, Washington.
The ethics of the Reagan administration has come under attack. Whitney North Seymour, the prosecutor in Michael Deaver's perjury case, accused the administration of backdoor, back stairway favor buying, and he's called for Congress to eliminate loopholes and exemptions. A jury found Michael Deaver guilty on Wednesday of 3 counts of perjury, but they acquitted him on 2 other counts of lying under oath. President Reagan had expressed sorrow with the verdict. This is AP Network News.
You know, the one thing most New Yorkers are looking for is an attractive apartment at an affordable price. Gala Realty specializes in condominium and co-ops in some of the most exciting neighborhoods. Manhattan's Upper West Side, Bay Parkway, Ocean Parkway, and Ditmas Park in Brooklyn and Flushing, Jackson Heights, Rico Park, and Forest Hills in Queens. And if you need to sell your present apartment, Gala's staff of over 40 resale professionals will help you get the highest price. This week's featured New Jersey cooperative is Kennedy House on Bayonne Bay, with all new deluxe kitchens, doorman service, exercise facility, swimming pool, and great sponsor financing. These studio 1- and 2-bedroom apartments are New Jersey's best co-op buys, starting at $60,560. So, if you're looking for a new place to live, look for Gala Realty ads in the real estate sections of the New York Times and the New York Post, or call 212-582-4252, 212-582-4252. Gala Realty, New York's co-op and condo experts, offering by prospectus only. Would you like to travel far and wide, searching out and bringing back the most beautiful jewelry and objets d'art throughout the world? You can experience that adventure at two unique sister jewelry stores, Far and Wide, 86 near 3rd, and the Underground Jeweler in the Uptown Subway Arcade, 86 and Lexington, carrying jewelry from 30 countries, gold, diamond, ruby, emerald jewelry from estates at great bargains, antique and Victorian from England, marquisite from Germany, silver from Indonesia and Mexico, garnets from Czechoslovakia, lapis from Chile, primitive jewelry from Afghanistan, and a wide variety of American Indian jewelry, which they've sold for 33 years. An impressive amount of African wood carvings, bronze and marble Buddhas from India. The price range at Far and Wide, 175 East 86th Street, and the Underground Jeweler is remarkable, starting as low as $2. They're a landmark on 86th Street, but their reputation has spread far and wide. Here's their number twice, 212-369-0920. That's 212-369-0920. You've inherited some antique stamps, coins, paintings. You'd like to turn them into cash, but you don't know what they're worth, and you don't know who will give you the best price. Well, we have an answer. Regal Gallery is one of America's largest dealers in stamps, coins, antiques. Regal will give you a free estimate over the phone, no obligation. Regal can pay the very highest prices because they're buying for collectors and investors all over the world. Many of our listeners have antiques, jewelry, coins, stamps that are stored in the attic and never even paid any attention to. How much cash can you get for these items? Find out by calling Regal Galleries for a free, no obligation appraisal. 212-689-1919. Out of the area, call 1-800-722-0054. Regal, 379 Fifth Avenue in New York. Get an appraisal by phone. Call 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Regal will come to your home to appraise or buy entire contents. Call in New York, 689-1919 or 1-800-722-0054.
For the holidays, please visit the fine families who own their own Carvel ice cream stores. Yes, they own the Carvel stores and make fresh Carvel ice cream, premium quality fresh Carvel ice cream that's made in a Carvel ice cream machine that only Carvel stores have and doesn't use an air pump to inflate the ice cream. Now would you please go to them? They'd love to customize a festive, exclusive Carvel design ice cream cake for you and yours, such as Cookie Puss or Hug Me the Bear, whatever you want. Please visit them. They'd love to see you for the holidays, and they'd love to make and custom inscribe a fresh Carvel ice cream cake. In the meantime, let us wish you and yours the finest of holidays. Thank you.
How many latkes can you eat on Hanukkah? How many latkes can you eat on Hanukkah? How many latkes can you eat? I can eat them all, 'cause it's sure a treat on Hanukkah. Great God, it is Hanukkah.
Oscar Brand singing the music of Woody Guthrie, Arlo's father. Can you believe how many latkes can you eat for Hanukkah? I'm Barry Farber. I salute anybody who gets a royalty check for something he achieved culturally. But it is particularly fitting at this season that we dwell upon a check Oscar Brand just got for a song he wrote in 1945.
It was Christmas of 45 when I began the radio show that I still have on the air. And at that time, a woman...
I forgot to say, you are the longest-running broadcaster in history.
Yeah.
If Marconi started a show the day he invented radio, and if he still were alive and still had it, he'd be the second longest radio star in history.
I need to be an idiot to keep doing it for so long, especially since I never got paid for it. But I did write this. Christmas is also a political season. I told you the Pilgrims outlawed it. There was all kinds of politics involved as well in the celebration of it. For instance, in England, you weren't allowed to celebrate it because it was too papist, as I said, and so on. But there was a monk named Bernard Le Monnoy who lived in medieval days, and he wrote a whole bunch of songs which were anti-clergy and anti the wealthy nobles and the wealthy middle class. And one of them I translated into English. So what you're about to hear is a medieval carol, for which I get royalties now because the Weavers recorded it and it was put in the Reader's Digest book of Christmas songs. So for 1945, I translated a song which was written by a man in medieval days, for which I get the royalty, and his family doesn't get much. Let's see, Bernard Le Monnoy wrote this Burgundian carol.
Wow.
Lorsque la saison qui est gelée, on m'lise natter entre le bœuf et l'âne grise, dans le petit fils. The winter season of the year, when to the world our Lord was born, the ox and donkey, so they say, did keep his holy presence warm. How many oxen and donkeys now, if they were there where first he came? How many oxen and donkeys you know, at such a time would do the same? As soon as to these humble beasts appeared his face, so mild and sweet, with joy they knelt before his grace and gently kissed his tiny feet. How many oxen and donkeys now, if they were there where first he came? How many oxen and donkeys you know, at such a time would do the same? Our lovely story is still untold, these humble beasts, so rough, so rude, throughout the night of holy birth, drank no water, ate no food. How many oxen and donkeys now, if they were there where first he came? How many oxen and donkeys you know, at such a time would do the same?
Where do you go to unearth Burgundian carols?
Well, that was an interesting story. I heard it partly in Canada as an old French song. When I came to the States, I met a woman named Maria Leach who had created the Encyclopedia of Folklore for Funk and Wagnalls. And she told me she had the other words. When I started to do this record, My Christmas is Best, I looked for the French words again. I couldn't find them in my files at all anymore, not after, 42 years. I went to the library and found there was a whole book on Bernard Le Monnoy and his songs. And the words that he used in the song were, how many oxen and donkeys you know, dressed in ermine, silks, and such. How many oxen and donkeys you know, if they were there, would do as much. And I was very, very pleased to find these words. The Weavers changed them, by the way, when they recorded, to make it fully religious.
As long as we're throwing Hebrew around, I wonder how many out there know what Bethlehem means. It's a Hebrew name. Tom, I mean, this is not the kind of question where if you don't know, you got to be embarrassed. This is esoteric enough so that everybody's ego is safe. You do not know what Bethlehem means. Bethlehem means the house of bread, Beit Lechem. And I've always been, the only time I've ever been to Bethlehem is in the summertime. And Manger Square is just a square of a town in principally an Arab town in Israel. But I just cannot conceive what Manger Square looks like on Christmas, with the Christians marching through Muslim neighborhoods under Jewish Israeli military protection. That must be ecumenical, right?
Can you imagine how amazing it is to think that this small city, this enclave, this walled city is still, in a way, at peace, despite the fact that all the religions, warring religions for centuries, are using it to this day. It's an amazing thing. When I went there, I work for Hadassah every once in a while. I help run the conventions. And when they had the convention in Israel, I went there, and the greatest astonishment I had was to see they were selling in the bazaar in the old city. They were selling special trinkets, silver trinkets, which were Stars of David with crosses overlaid. An amazing thing.
When you walk out of the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, most American Jews don't even stop to realize this, but those beautiful children across the street screaming and kicking soccer balls around and yelling at each other in Hebrew are not Jewish. That's the YMCA, gigantic YMCA right across from the King David Hotel. Now, there are Christian children whose language is Hebrew in Israel. I wonder if there are any Christmas carols for them in Hebrew.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my next album, I guess.
When we get back together, we'll celebrate some of the last ones. First,
after all that has been said and done, after you have been bombarded with daily doses of 4-hour and one-day sale events, after waiting in line, only to be told that the 10% stores are gone, or at best be given a rain check for next March, isn't it time to discover the unmatched, unparalleled, unduplicated 47th Street photo stores? At 47th Street, you're always assured of the lowest possible prices, experienced sales help, and the highest level of customer service. At 47th Street, you'll find the largest selection of photographic and electronic equipment, audio, video, microwave, electronic organs, typewriters, copiers, fax machines, watches, and fine jewelry. Visit the beautiful, state-of-the-art sound rooms displaying the latest innovations in component systems. Discover the 47th Street shopping experience, 67 West 47th Street, 115 West 45th Street, and 116 Nassau Street near City Hall. And now, too, on Long Island, in the East Meadow Plaza Shopping Center on Hempstead Turnpike, 47th Street Photo. Treat your feet well at Artie's Comfort Shoe Specialists. In business for 40 years, serving their customers with quality shoes and a staff of professional shoe fitters, Artie's Comfort Shoe Specialists provides a complete orthopedic shoe facility with in-house craftsmen offering full repair and custom shoe service. Artie's has a large selection of foot comfort aids, arch supports, foot orthotics, and deep inlay shoes, as well as being an authorized dealer for Jobst support stockings. If you just want a quality pair of shoes, or if your feet require a special fitting, Artie's Comfort Shoe Specialists can help you. Orthopedists, podiatrists, and physical therapists have been referring their patients to Artie's for many years. Try on deerskin shoes for men and women, which are lightweight with exceptionally soft uppers for comfort. Also available are women's depth inlay winter boots, available in sizes up to Triple E. Parents, bring your children to Artie's for proper shoe fitting. Visit Artie's Comfort Shoe Specialists in Brooklyn, 287 Livingston Street. Call 718-875-4292. Artie's Comfort Shoe Specialists in Brooklyn, 875-4292.
Hirsch & Sons Funeral Home has been serving the Jewish community of the Bronx for 3 generations. It's a source of comfort and strength in your time of need, conducted in a dignified manner. Hirsch & Sons gives personalized service with warmth and understanding. Their services are available throughout the metropolitan area, parking facilities on the premises. Hirsch & Sons Funeral Home is located at 1225 Jerome Avenue at 167th Street in the Bronx. Call them at 212-992-2000. Again, that number, 212-992-2000.
Attention Brooklyn. Mark's Door & Lock, Brooklyn's most innovative, fastest-growing door, lock, and window company, announces the grand opening of their new showroom located at 1982 Flatbush Avenue between Flatlands and the Kings Highway. Shop Mark's Door & Lock for Brooklyn's most competitive prices on all your door, lock, and window installations. Visit their showroom during their expansion sale at 1982 Flatbush Avenue, or call them 24 hours a day at 338-8443 to arrange for a free in-home estimate. Mark's Door & Lock, located at 1982 Flatbush Avenue. The hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 8:30 to 6. Thursday till 9, Sunday, noon till 4. Closed Monday. Or phone 338-8443. Why shop anywhere else for your door, lock, or window needs? Call 338-8443 or visit their new showroom at 1982 Flatbush Avenue for all types of doors, locks, and windows. Free parking is available at Mark's Door & Lock.
Our lovely story is still untold. These humble beasts, so rough, so rude throughout the night of holy birth.
I'm Barry Farber. Tom Jones, thank you for those dazzling sound effects. I don't know how Tom, I know how most everything works in that control room. I don't know how Tom does precisely what he does. I mean, you may say, well, fool, he records it and then plays it back. I know, but I mean, knowing what I know about the equipment, I mean, physically, I don't see how he gets that effect so instantaneously.
Most engineers...
Because he can't run the whole tape back. He's got to make a tape recording of the whole broadcast without stopping it.
Barry, most engineers only have 4 hands. I've been watching him.
Well, Tom has 4 hands and a big imagination, so that gets us across.
Really
I
nice.
love Christmas music. I have one criticism about the way Christians celebrate Christmas. There's such a thing as being more Catholic than the Pope, more to the right of Ronald Reagan, which of course is very easy these days. But being more Christmas carol loving than a Christian is my condition. I criticize the abrupt karate chop end to Christmas music on radio at the stroke of midnight, December 25th. It seems as though there is some hidden, mystic Christian mandate that says thou shalt not have one note or one word of anything Christmas when it is all of a sudden geophysically, legally December the 26th. I mean, can't there be an afterglow, a tapering off? It's still the Christmas holidays, and that music is just too good. I have never heard a Christmas carol I didn't like, and many of them I truly, truly love.
You know that George S. Kaufman was doing the old Information Please program, and one day he said he was sick of Christmas music, especially songs like Silent Night. They were being thrown at him from all corners, on elevators, in the streets, on the radio, and as a consequence, he almost lost the program and practically all his public appearances. There was so much of retreat. But Christmas is longer than the 25th. The 26th is Boxing Day throughout the English-speaking world, and that's when you give out the box of presents with on boxes. But Old Christmas lasts until the end of the holiday, the 6th. There are 12 days to Christmas.
The Epiphany.
Yeah. Interesting that there's 12 days to Christmas, and the 6th is Old Christmas is still celebrated, as you know, in the old church. And in this country, it was celebrated until only recently, until that particular day. That's where the 12 days of Christmas comes from, and many another song. In fact, the song that I was singing earlier about the cherry tree, which is one of these apocryphal songs from medieval days, one of the lines says, let's see, how does that go again? Then up spoke little Jesus, so tender and mild, my mother would have cherries. Bow down, low cherry tree, my mother would have cherries. Bow down, low cherry tree. And then Joseph asked the child, who was as yet unborn yet, when will your birthday be? And the child says, on the 6th day of January, my birthday will be, when the stars in the elements will tremble with glee, when the stars in the elements will tremble with glee. It's an old custom to celebrate until the 6th, and why they stopped singing the songs, and I think you're right at that, I really don't know.
You know, I just thought of a new cultural hoop that we can see who can jump through and who has jumped through. I think the greatest cultural achievement, or shall we say artistic achievement, is to write something that everybody thinks is classic. For instance, Irving Berlin introduced a new Christmas carol right up there with Silent Night, namely White Christmas. Burl Ives, when I interviewed him many years ago, noticed how upset I was when I learned that the Bluetail Fly was a commercial song written by somebody, words and music, sheet music, and I thought it was a folk song that came out of the mud in the lower Mississippi Delta. No, it was a plain old commercial song. Now, look at the Christmas carols that have stuck, the so-called new Christmas carols. I have favorite old ones and favorite new ones. Can you have a better piece of music than Harry Belafonte's Mary's Boy Child? or the Little Drummer Boy by the Harry Simeon Chorale. I mean, can there be better music than this?
Well, you know that Mendelssohn and Bach and all the great composers have written for Christmas. There's no question about that. I had a problem when I was doing my album Seeing is Believing, which is for Advent, with the St. Pancras Choir under the direction of Bob de Cormier. I had practically the whole story of Christ in song, but I wanted something about his birth and what happened before his birth. And I looked and I really couldn't find a song that I found was appropriate. So I went and wrote one. Now, before I play it, it's on my album Singing is Believing, and it's the first song on the album because it begins the whole story.
See, Singing is Believing. What a great title.
That's the album. It's Songs for Advent. And I'd like to hear side A, band 1, Mary Had a Cousin. But in order to write, I had a very funny thing happen. The St. Pancras Boys Choir is a Catholic group, and they're marvelous. The Bible, the St. James version, of course, is the Protestant version. And I had Zachariah, and they said, no, that's Zacharias is the name. And so I had to use the words of St. James, but change the man's name a little to accommodate all these marvelous boys who are coming to sing the song with me. But it's one of my favorite creations. In other words, if I look at the songs I've written, that's the one I like the best. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
Mary had a cousin, Elizabeth her name, though she married Zachariah.
When they both were old and childless, an angel came one day, and he said, you'll have a fine young son, though you are old and gray. Whereupon you shall call him John. John was a Baptist, and he was a preacher's son, and before he went to his reward, he preached the coming of the Lord. The angel's name was Gabriel, a shining sight was he, and he also came to Mary in the land of Galilee, saying, the Lord has shown thy cousin that his power can't be bound, and you shall have the Lord's own child before the year turns round, and your son shall be God's Holy One. John was a Baptist, and he was a preacher's son, and before he went to his reward, he preached the coming of the Lord.
Since on earth as up in heaven, God's will is surely done, just as the angel promised her, the Virgin had a son.
And when the boys had grown to manhood, to the desert waste John strayed, a preaching of the Holy One, for whom his people prayed. And behold, Christ reigned as John foretold. John was a Baptist, and he was a preacher's son, and before he went to his reward, he preached the coming of the Lord.
Great piece of music. You know what I want to do? I want to make it even greater. Oscar confided something in me. Please don't think that the following is my idea. I'm incapable of such an idea. But Oscar whispered to me, it needs trumpets. Can you go back to at least to the beginning of the last chorus and let Oscar show us with his voice where the trumpets would go and how the trumpets would go? So leave Oscar's microphone open. Okay, Oscar, put in the trumpets.
Since on earth as up in heaven, God's will is surely done, just as
boys had grown to manhood. To the desert waste John strayed, a-preaching of the Holy One, for whom his people prayed. And behold, Christ reigned as John foretold. John was a Baptist and he was a preacher's son, and before he went to his reward, he preached the coming of the Lord.
We cannot defeat every four-letter word in one 60-second commercial, but we can defeat the worst four-letter word of them all, and that's pain. Therapeutic Mineral Ice is an exclusive icing formula, a deep penetrating blue gel that stops pain cold. Just apply Therapeutic Mineral Ice and relax and rejoice as it eases the pain of muscles and joints associated with arthritis, simple backache, strains, sprains, minor but painful injuries, sports injuries. I'm just a broadcaster. But doctors, chiropractors, pain clinics, physical therapists, team trainers all praise and all prize Therapeutic Mineral Ice. No grease, no stain, no pain. One health expert calls Therapeutic Mineral Ice the most effective local application for pain I've ever encountered. Therapeutic Mineral Ice, the pain fighter at your neighborhood pharmacy, Better Health Food stores, GNC, Drug Guild stores, CVS, the World Health Center, Love, Duane Reade, Brooks, and Rite Aid. New report, significant breakthrough for people with cataracts. This report in the publication Annals of Ophthalmology describes a study at the Harvard University Medical School of a special filter eyeglass lens which dramatically improves the vision of patients with cataracts. Now, these improvements in vision in some cases reach as high as 300%, with the average improvement between 30 and 70%. The doctors also reported a total removal of glare and light sensitivity with the new filter. The study demonstrated a new approach to the improvement of vision for patients with cataracts that are not ready for surgical removal. These new filter eyeglasses are now available at the Cataract Eyeglass and Low Vision Centers in New York and New Jersey. For an appointment or for further information, call in New York 1-800-272-3937. I'll repeat that. That's 1-800-272-EYES, E-Y-E-S. In New Jersey, 212-375-0220. I'll repeat that. There's help for people with cataracts in New Jersey. Call 201-375-0220.